It's July 21st, 2019. Down at the pond, normally mowing the grass. Normally with these videos, I think probably 99% of them, Max's, um, would be in the video. The channel was dedicated to Max. He's my son, Max Gabriel Edel Kranbuhl. And on June 12th of this year, just before 7 p.m., Max passed away. I don't I don't know if I discussed it on the channel on any of the videos or maybe in some of the description of the channel. But in 2015, Max was diagnosed with a terrible, terrible form of liver cancer. In the fall of 2015, he was 15 years old at the time. In the fall of 2015, he had was called a liver resection. They took 75% of his liver and as well as his gallbladder in the hopes that they'd get all the disease. The following year, 2016, late spring, early summer, it came back. And we treated it, went back and forth. And all this time, we've been, since 2015, we've been going back and forth and getting treatment at Boston Children's Hospital and Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, also in Boston. We live in central part of New York. So the disease came back. Max was able to, through treatment, keep it stabilized for over a year, which allowed Max to go on a transplant list. And then in 2017, Max had what was called a multi-visceral transplant, where they transplanted a stomach, most of it, large intestine, small intestine, pancreas, and his liver. Replaced everything in the hopes of getting rid of anything that was possibly carrying that horrible disease. We made it until the spring of 2018 and it came back again, which left us the only option of just treating it with chemo, which we did and kept it stable. Little spots would pop up and we'd go in for treatments until the spring of this year, at which point we were going to Boston to start a new drug because it had begun to spread. When they informed us that they couldn't do anything else. They wouldn't do anything else. And they sent us home. It was a hard pill to swallow. No hope. You're going home. There's nothing we're going to do for you. So we brought Max home in the spring of this year. And he started getting fluid buildup in his belly and losing weight. And we take him weekly, sometimes twice a week, to Albany Med to have the fluid drained. But over time, Max got weaker and weaker and less. And then just before 7 p.m. on the 12th of June, we lost him, Maxie. I don't know if I discussed it or have it in the description. All of our videos that we've posted are just raw video. We never edited them. It was just us having fun. Max liked recording and then putting it on YouTube. But Max was autistic. And he was my son and my best friend. And as you could probably tell from the videos, we spent a lot of time together, cruising on mowers, talking about mowers, talking about tractors, working on our tractors, all of our other equipment. Max loved tractors. He loved them, and he loved mowers. Our first one he learned to drive on was a 1999, because I got it with the year he was born, just before he was born, MTD yard machine, which when we moved here in 2002, that was the only mower I had. I would ride it around, and then Max was so interested. And then he took to, when I'd be done mowing the lawn, he'd sit on my lap and we would just ride. We would take little rides around the yard. And it went from Max just sitting on my lap and me driving, to Max sitting on my lap to steering, to Max riding by himself with me walking behind him, to Max just cruising on his own. And he loved it. He loved working on the mowers with me and just finding out what every little part did in the engine and saying, what is this? What is that? What does this do? What does that do? And then I think it was maybe 2005, 2006, I got the, which you've seen in the videos, the Craftsman GT 5000. I bought on Craigslist and I had it delivered. It was like 11:30 at night on a Friday, and I put it in a garage. And Max always got up early then when he was little, and we came outside. I said, let's go outside and take a look at the tractor, probably, but to go out, get him outside. And then I opened up the garage and he saw the Craftsman, and he was thrilled, which we still have right here to this day. And I showed Max how everything worked on it, and he got to take it for the first ride. And when he was done taking that tractor, this Craftsman GT 5000, for a ride, I said, Max, now the yard machine is yours. It's your very own tractor. I'll maintain it and I'll take care of it for you, but that's your tractor, okay? And whatever we do or don't do with it is going to be up to you. Max was very happy. And he rode that tractor. He had to put hundreds and hundreds of hours. He would just cruise and cruise and just ride around the yard. If I'm working outside, he's riding around, just riding. And he'd look at it and just see how everything, and then he'd get out and he'd lift up the hood and he's checking out all the parts. And it was good. And then we would ride together. I would ride on the Craftsman, Max would ride on the yard machine, and then we would switch back and forth and we would just cruise around the yard together. We could do that for hours, different times of the day. We'd cruise down here to the pond. We'd park and we'd talk. We'd go through the engine, talk about all the parts and the servicing and what we needed to get, and new blades, a new fuel filter, a new air filter, new oil filter. We needed to do this or fix that, or sharpen the blades, and this would be for hours and hours. We would do this. And like I said, hundreds of hours we probably put on these mowers just cruising around. I never cruised before. I would take them on a little ride around the yard, but cruising together, that's what we did. We stop at, I don't know, must have been probably 8 or 10 different spots around our property. And we would just talk. We'd stop at them and talk about everything. Not just the tractors and the mowers, but like going to the fair and we watching the tractor pulls. It's just anything. Max was my best friend. And we did all this together. Outside, Max was always with me. He wouldn't stay all day with me outside if I'm out working in the garden, but he'd come out and he'd spend some time with me. If he heard me mowing the lawn, even if I was down here at the pond, he could hear me up at the house. He'd have his mom, because like I said, he needed help. With some things he needed help with other things, he knew it all. He'd have his mom get him dressed. And he'd come out, get on his mower, and he'd come down here, and I'd be mowing around, and I could see him coming down the pathway there. I'd throw a hand up to Max. He'd throw a hand up back to me, and we would wave, and then we'd usually meet over somewhere, and we'd talk. And then he'd cruise around while I was cutting the grass. And then then when I'm done, we had to go cruising some more, sometimes until a lot of times, until it even got dark outside. I miss Max very much. I miss him very much. Max was a great best friend. always wanting to hang out with his dad, always wanting to, to help me out when I'm in the garage and servicing the equipment and just be with me, even if he didn't want to work, which he never did. He'd always just want to operate the equipment, which was fine. Even the big tractor, the EX, if I'm doing work down here and I had to clear some wood, Max would, I'd hook the log up, chain up the log, and Max would drive and pull the logs away and stuff like that. He wouldn't help me, stack the wood or anything like that, but he would help me with the equipment. He would keep me company. And he might not stay for long this day, and sometimes he would stay the entire time. But it was awful nice having Max around with me. He's quick to forgive, had a huge heart, went through this battle for these last 4 years with strength, with dignity, and always with a big heart, concerned more with his dad, I think, and everybody else to make sure we were okay. We never told him when we got towards the end what was happening. But we still talked about, even up to the end, how after I retired in 3 years, we were going to get a farm, and we were going to have farm tractors, and we were going to cut hay, not to make any money, just for the fun of it, and we'd sell the hay or give the hay away. I don't know. But it was going to be good. We were going to have coffee in the morning, go down to the diner and have breakfast, and then we would run the equipment and do work on the farm. And then at the end of the day, we'd sit together on the porch and have a beer together. And that was going to be good. Max didn't need a lot, didn't ask for a lot. Simple things, but important things. And I miss you, Max. I miss you every second of every day. And this is a little medallion made from Max's thumbprint. And it says on it, forever and a day, Sugar Bear. Because Max would always ask me, even at the end, do you still love me, Dad? I said, Max, you're always in my heart. I love you forever and a day, every second of every day. You're my Sugar Bear. And I got sad here towards the end. And I tried not to show it to Maxie, but I'd have my head down, and I was crying. And he said, Pop, are you okay? And I said, Max, yeah, I'm okay. Why? He said, because my arm's wet. And I said, I'm sorry, Max. I'm sorry. And he could see I was crying. Max put his arm around me. And he said, Dad, everything's going to be okay. Now, we did everything we did together. Now I'm alone because I don't have my son and my best friend with me anymore. At least not physically. He's here in my heart. And I talk to him every day. I talk to Max every day. Tell him how much I miss him, how much I love him. I told Max I take care of all of his equipment. You've seen in the videos he has Cub Cadet XT1, and he also has a Husqvarna. I told him I would take care of all of his treasures and all of his equipment. I serviced everything this spring or early summer. New air filters, new pre-filters, new fuel filters, new oil filters, new blades, new oil, and they're both running great, and they're going to stay that way. And I tell Max, for that day you come back and we're together again, they'll be ready to go cruising. Life is hard now. For anybody that's ever lost, any parent that's lost a child. I have a huge hole right here through my heart that was filled with my son. That's empty and can never be filled again. I just wanted to give this update for people who used to watch Max's videos. My best friend. Every second of every day, Sugar Bear. I hope that there's more than all of this world and that someday we'll be together again. And then we can live our dream and we can have our farm. On September 28th, 1999, Max came into this world. He was born, and I held him first. On June 12th, 2019, just before 7 p.m., he passed away, and I was the last person to hold him again until they came to take him away. I love you, Max. And I miss you very much, every second of every day. Till I see you again. Bye, Sugar Bear.